Hey, good morning, sports fans. Louis Diamond live from our Las Vegas handicapping studios. You are watching Bettor Center Live. We are back. It is Saturday morning, lots of college football. I hope everybody had a wonderful week. I know I had a decent week off, and I'm ready to get with it with some college football. Today, I'm joined with two fantastic handicappers with Chip Chirimbus, number one at Vegas Insider. We'll get on that in a second. And we got Tony Gullidge and number one at Bettor Center. All right. So, with that being said, lots of college football here for you today. So, let's get right down to it. First, let me introduce Chip Chirimbus and Tony Gullidge. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Lou.
Hey, good morning, Lou.
All right. Hope you guys had a good week off, at least weekdays. So, and we are ready to get back at it. Listen, Chip, I've been seeing on the internet that your name's been popping up all over the place. You are the number one handicapper over there at Vegas Insider right now. Of course, I don't really want to promote another website, but you want to know something, Chip? That's a hell of an accomplishment, and we got to talk about it. Tell us a little bit about that nice run you got going on.
Well, thank you very much, Lou. It's been a short season, but we've still been able to make some money at $100 a unit. We're up about $3,000 right now. We just take it a piece at a time, one day at a time, and we're grinding it out. It's a long season for the most part, and you know how it goes, Lou. Sometimes you're up there, and sometimes you're not. And we may have just 3 more games or 2 more baseball games left for the entire season as it is. But also second in college football as well. I've been on a great run on Saturdays, 23-7 in the last 6 Saturdays, even right here. Last week we stubbed our toe with our best bet, but that was the first time in 6 chances that we got beat there. So I'm really looking forward to it and looking forward to doing more with Bettor Center when we get our carts ready to go.
Awesome, Chip. Congratulations on that run.
You.
Well deserved. And yes, I do know some days we are the fly and other days we're the windshield. So let's be the windshield, boys. Let's be the windshield here today. All right. So with that being said, let's get right down to our first game on our schedule. And that is going to feature actually a pick here by Paul Bovey, who's not with us here today. He'll be back with us on Wednesday next week. But Paul Bovey is currently 4-0 on the Bettor Center channel. So coming out he's coming out strong. And that first game on the board will feature Florida State and Louisville. And Louisville opens up a 6.5-point favorite, bet down to 5 and 5.5. But now I'm seeing a 6 out there right now. But the total's getting steamed from 57.5 all the way up to 63. So we're definitely seeing a lot of love with the over. Paul Bovey is coming at us with Florida State and the points today. Do I have any takers on that one? I'll start with you, Tony.
Yeah, Florida State off the big win against North Carolina. Big win. They did cover. They did win 31-28. I think we had Florida State here on the show. Mentioned Mac Brown's horror show when he played Florida State. Literally the reason Mac Brown left North Carolina the first time. Couldn't beat Florida State. Jordan Travis appears to be the guy for Florida State. Defensively, they were 2 of 12 on third down, so they were able to slow North Carolina down in the first half. Louisville's problem is the big play on the defense. They give up the big play. Their offense is down 8 points a game from last year. I see this as a clear upset spot. I actually like Florida State to win this game, so I do agree with Paul. Florida State's the play for me.
All right, we got a couple takers here with the old Seminoles of Florida State. You know, I haven't been a fan of Florida State this year, so I'm not going to have too much of an opinion on this game. Chip, are you going to agree with Paul and Tony on this one, or you got something to rant against it?
I'm not going to necessarily be ranting, but I did use Louisville as a free play. And, last week Louisville played tough against Notre Dame, and like Tony, we had Florida State to upset North Carolina. And I don't believe Florida State's that good or that deep. We know they've been struggling the last 3 seasons, and they just can't seem to get it together. They put together a great game against Carolina, unless you take a closer look at the second half when the Tar Heels really made a move on them. Louisville, of course, has struggled the whole entire season. I don't see much for them. Since they've lost Lamar Jackson, they just haven't been the same offensive juggernaut they were in the past. I just think that in its time and place, with Florida State probably being so inebriated with finally beating Carolina them the way they did, and like Tony said, Mac Jones's history, when he was with trying to beat Florida State was not good, and it continues. So I took Louisville here. I just thought there'd be a letdown on the Seminole side more than anything else. That was my reason. It was a free play, so actually I don't exactly have the most impetus in it, but I did take Louisville.
All right, a little bit of love for Louisville for Chipper there today. Both teams really don't give you many numbers to work with. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of fade away from this game. Seminoles, though, 8-0 versus a team with a losing record. Their last 8 games, I'll give them that much, but 2-6 against the spread overall. So not much to work with for either team. All right, Tony and Paul on Florida State. A little bit of love for Louisville. And next game on our schedule will feature the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and they are traveling to the Panthers of Pitt. And now here's this number just looks a little short to me for some reason. Why is Notre Dame? I'm not sure. A 9.5 or 10-point favorite. They opened up 9. They did get some love. They're bet up to 10. The total 49.5 down to 43.5. I don't know if this game could stay under. And I got a little love here for Notre Dame. Chip, you have any opinion on the game?
Well, like you had mentioned, Lou, I think the number is a little bit shallow, and Notre Dame has not been the impressive club most people were anticipating. I mean, they just got by Louisville last week, and Pittsburgh has been able to show that they can move the ball. They can score some points. Unfortunately, they missed an extra point last week, and that cost them a win. I think that I don't have this play. I didn't use it, and the game really didn't draw my attention. But my natural instinct would be to take the underdog and take the points. And Pitt has been playing well. I do have fear of Notre Dame coming to life because they sort of have been sleepwalking through their games. I've been posting wins, but they haven't really been all that impressive. So I'm looking for the Panthers actually to come up big here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Notre Dame finally put one together.
Yeah, I almost feel like it does look a little too good to be true. Pitt still has quarterback issues. They're not even telling you who's starting here today. Let's see if Tony's got anything to add on the game.
Yeah, another one. I've been actually doing pretty well with Notre Dame this year. Last couple games they haven't covered. I was on Louisville last week with a big booster full of points, and I even mentioned it's tough to cover a 17-point spread if you can't make it to 17, and that's what happened to Notre Dame last week. They just didn't show up, didn't play. So I am actually going to come back here and play Notre Dame. I think the fact that they haven't covered the last 2 spreads kind of helps the spread in this game. Pittsburgh, I know both teams do have solid defenses. Notre Dame's ranked a little better nationally. I think this Chip alluded to it, kind of a breakout spot for Notre Dame here with a lower spread. Pittsburgh, I'm not going to trust them. The quarterback issue I got a big question mark on my page offensively for them. I think the single-digit spread here for Notre Dame, a team that hasn't been covered. Also note, this is the first game Notre Dame will play outside the state of Indiana, although they're not going that far. They are leaving South Bend for the first time this year. Not a big play for me, but I am backing Notre Dame today.
All right, so we got a little Notre Dame love here today. And I gotta say, I'm probably going to look for a little teaser. Chip, anything here with Notre Dame and Pitt?
No, like I had mentioned before, I'd probably just take the points. And if I was going to tease it, I would certainly take the points.
All right. Okay, so next game on our schedule features a team that has gone 13 straight wins against the other. That's Alabama. Has beaten they've really owned Tennessee throughout the years. And big question mark today is, will they own them again today? I believe if I look at the numbers, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Alabama, 8-1 the last 9 games in Tennessee, 11-4-1 against the spread, 13-0 straight up. Anybody got some love for Tennessee, or is this another rout by Alabama here today? Chip?
I sort of feel Tennessee might be in a decent spot at home. They absolutely got blown out the second half against Georgia the last time out. Alabama, of course, Tennessee used to give Alabama a big tussle until Saban
Oh,
was
yeah.
hired. And like you said, once Saban got there, they've won 13 straight, and they're a cover machine against the Volunteers. The Volunteers certainly can't measure up. It's to me, it's all going to depend on if the Crimson Tide call the dogs off. We saw them do that opening week against Missouri, where it looked like they were just going to rout this team. They could have scored 48 points in the first half, and they just went into a shell in the second half. I think I don't know. I have a small lean on Tennessee here just because of the way the game sets up. Alabama coming off their big win and Tennessee getting crushed.
All right. Tony, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this last week. Alabama is a team, we had them against Georgia. They're a team that covers at home. They haven't been covering on the road. They traveled to Tennessee off just a horrible back-to-back losses. They lost 34-7 at home to whoever they played, Kentucky. Kentucky just dominated the game against them. It was so it's 2 games in a row now. The Tennessee Guarantano has just given games away, fumbling, getting picked. So you have Tennessee off 2 terrible plays, Alabama off the big win. I agree with Chip. Alabama hasn't been covering on the road, so this is a perfect setup. Give me Tennessee in the 21 points at home. I think you're on the right side. Alabama's offense has not been slowed down. The only thing that slows them down is the coach telling them to just hand the ball off. So when Matt Jones and the starters on the field, it is like up and down the field like a machine. But I think as the game wears on, Alabama's defense is not as good as they have been in the past, and I think that leaves the opportunity for Tennessee to get some cheap points late. I'm taking Tennessee in a big handful of points today.
All right. A little bit of Tennessee love going on here today. You know what? On paper, this is probably the best opportunity Tennessee has against this team, at least to cover the number. But they're fighting an 8-18 record against the spread at home. So I have a tough time backing something like that. But I can certainly see a teaser either way on this if you want to look at this game and get yourself into some action. All right, our next game on the schedule is going to feature the Wolfpack of North Carolina State, and they are at the Tar Heels, just a short trip down the road of North Carolina. Game opens up, North Carolina 14.5. Now it's up to 15.5. The total was 64.5, and they steamed it under, down to 61.5. And I got a little bit of a love for this game. I see a nice play here. Before I get into it, let's see if you guys can talk me off of it. Chip, you have anything in North Carolina and North State?
Yeah, I do, and I really like this game. I've gone 4-0 this season on and against the Tar Heels. So we were against them last week with Florida State, and they beat them outright. And they come up a double-digit, over a 2-touchdown favorite against a 4-1 rival. NC State, for North Carolina, of course, going to be a big rival. NC State is 4-1 on the year, and yet they're going to get this number of points. And the first thing it did was put a little question mark in my mind. And my first thoughts were that North Carolina is a lot better than people realize. They had them ranked all the way up there in the top 5 or 6. And then, of course, they happened to stub their toe. But I think Carolina's defense is really strong. We saw them just totally shut down Syracuse. I think Syracuse had less than 200 yards offense when they met earlier in the year. I like Carolina here. I think the numbers telling you the tale that why should this number be what it is in a rivalry game like this? There's only one play for me, and I don't lay points ordinarily, as you guys are aware. I'm going to lay North Carolina here, and I use this as a selection.
All right, Chip, definitely going to go against what kind of looks the obvious. A big dog, 2 teams, both of them the first time that they've actually been ranked. First time they've played for a long time when they have both been ranked. Seems like a lot of points to me. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, North Carolina, my alma mater. Actually, I graduated from the Tar Heel. It's about a 30-minute drive from Raleigh over to Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill. So it's just a little bus ride. NC State, 3 straight wins coming into this, 2 on the road. I'm going to think the reason the line's up a little bit, North Carolina State's quarterback did get his leg broke last game. So the guy that they're starting actually started some last year. So he has some experience. His results were not that good, but the team overall, I don't think was as good as this team this year for NC State. Chip mentioned North Carolina defense. For me, that's the part of this team, the suspect. When they played Virginia Tech, they gave up 45 points. And even though I won a bet with North Carolina in that game against Virginia Tech, I noticed they give up a lot of deep throws. They try to pack it in, and teams are going over the top. Virginia Tech did effectively. This just smells bad. As a North Carolina fan, as somebody that picks a lot of their games and bets on them, I'm going to take NC State here. Just they keep exceeding expectations. So 14.5 points. I mean, obviously, it doesn't make sense unless you consider the fact that their quarterback got his leg snapped last week. Perhaps that plays into it some. I'm going to take NC State to keep this close. Carolina's just going to be happy to get a win, get back on track after the way they played in Tallahassee the first half last week. So that's my play, NC State.
Okay, so got a little NC State love. Got some North Carolina love. I'm the guy that makes the rubber pick. And I got to take the dog as well. I got to believe that you're giving me 14.5. I can respect what Chip is saying here. They're really trying to invite me into this. And I'm taking it hook, line, and sinker. So hopefully I'm not a sucker here because that 14.5 really makes me feel like I got to grab those points. Big in-state rivalry. Both teams finally hit the top 25. I got to grab them points. And but Chip made me a little worried there because that does make sense. They are inviting it. And yes, the quarterback breaking his leg last week certainly has something to do with the line move and that move. But this quarterback played last year. He didn't do too bad. And I don't think they're going to drop that far back. So there's my thought on that game. Let's move on to our next game on the board. And that will feature the Virginia Tech Hokies. Now, they are minus 10.5 at Wake Forest. The total is 69. It was kind of a stale number I gave you, but it really isn't that stale. But Virginia Tech opened up at 6.5, and they got some steam. They're up to 10.5, and the total 70.5 down to 68.5. So Virginia Tech and under has been the move. Anybody with or against the move on this? I'll start with you, Chip.
I really didn't do too much into this game at all. It just didn't draw my attention. I've seen out and about when a lot of the professionals and people that are leaning toward taking Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, a little inconsistent. But I really haven't done all that much with this one. I'm already out there with my games today, and this one didn't qualify.
All right. No play there from Chip. How about you, Tony? You got anything here with Virginia Tech and Wake Forest?
I think me and Chip might be on the same kind of page here this morning. I ended up not playing this game either. I note Virginia Tech's offense has been powerful. The least they've scored is 38 points is the least they've put up. So Virginia Tech, you're going to get some points from them. Wake Forest, surprisingly well, they covered that first game at home against Clemson. And, when it comes to covering spreads, Wake is one of those teams that always seems to get the grease goes their way. So if there's any chance that Wake can sneak in a number and backdoor, it smells like a Wake Forest backdoor, but I left it alone. I'm assuming you got something for us here on this game, Chip. Lou. Tell us who you like.
I like the over in the game. I believe, Virginia Tech's got some offensive gears clicking right now. They've scored 71 points in the last 6 quarters. So with a new quarterback under there, so he's on fire. So I'm going to roll with Virginia Tech and over, and believe that their offensive power is going to continue here today. So it's Virginia Tech and over for me in this matchup. So that being said, let's go to the next matchup on our game, and that is going to feature Virginia, and they are going to Derek King and the Miami Hurricanes. And that game opens up with Miami as a 10.5 point favorite, steamed up as high. It's up to 14 now. There's still a lot of 13.5s, but it's now hitting 14. No doubt Miami is the play here in my eyes. Total 59.5, bet down to 53.5. So the under. So you might be a little late on that Miami steam at 14, but the under at 53.5 is, 6-point move. That's a big move. Chip, you have anything with Miami and Virginia?
Yeah, I certainly do. This Virginia team looks very suspect, I believe, at 1-4. They've had some unfortunate circumstances during games, turnovers at inopportune times, penalties at bad positions, and drop balls. One thing to remember, though, this Virginia team played for the ACC championship last year. And I think they're going to get it together and give Miami a tussle here. Miami, of course, has always got the flash and the glory, and this King has been outrageous for them, of course. He's really turned the program around. They've struggled in recent seasons. I just think this is a game where Virginia has to really suck it up together and get together and come up and play. I'm going to take the Cavaliers here.
Shooting with the dog. You're looking for a little dog barking. Okay, Tony, what do you got here? Virginia and Miami of Florida.
As Chip mentioned, Virginia just completely slumping off the board. Not only are they slumping, competitively, they're awful. Their turnovers, the sloppiness on the field. I watched a little bit of their last game, the disgusting loss to Wake Forest. I mean, they really had logistical problems getting people on and off the field, getting set up on offense, complete discombobulation. I think Virginia's in trouble. I almost feel, from what I was viewing, like they've thrown in the towel. Miami last week, depending on what you got as a line, you could have lost, you could have won. It was right there at the number. Decent bounce back from them after the primetime brutal beating they took from Clemson. I think Miami offensive, the two things I note here for sure, Virginia's defense, just dead awful, man. Really just terrible. Miami's offense, what Miami does well is what Virginia does bad. I see a clean spot for Miami just to wipe Virginia at home today. I'm going to go with Miami and lay these points.
There you go. All right, even at the 14. No,
yeah, I got 13 and a half.
If you're stuck with a 14, you're still liking it.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I agree. I agree. But let's take this a little step further. Virginia's been outscored 48-3 in the first quarter. Come on, guys. 48-3. Miami, they at home, jumping right out of the gate. You're probably going to have to lay 4 points. You may have to lay 4.5 and get that touchdown lead in the first quarter. But cash the ticket there, guys. Miami in the first quarter should get the job done. Miami for the game should get the job done. Miami for the first half should get the job done. It's one of those games. Remember the first week of the season? We keyed Miami all the way around and we cashed the ticket. I think you can cash a nice Miami ticket here. First quarter, first half, and for the game. But get on it before you got the 14, guys. Let's get it. All right. Now let's take a quick little commercial break, and we'll be back with our man on the street, Tony C. Find out where Tony is today.
Brad Stein here, live from Las Vegas. Join us daily for Bettor Center Live with our professional handicappers, where you get sports information you can bet on. Stop gambling, start winning. Bettor Center Live.
Tony C., where are you, my man?
I am back in Dallas, Texas here at the home of the SMU Mustangs, Gerald J. Ford Stadium. Again, not to be confused with former President Gerald R. Ford. This is Gerald J. Ford Stadium. SMU Mustangs tonight, 16th in the nation versus number 9 Cincinnati Bearcats. What are we going to look for, guys? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to look for. I see a stale Cincinnati team coming in at 3-0. They haven't played in 3 weeks, and they've beaten who? Austin P. Governors. Whoop-de-doo. Army. Whoop-de-doo. And they beat South Florida Bulls. Well, we all saw South Florida last night at home getting 12 points, and they didn't look so sharp. So that's who Cincinnati has beat. On the other hand, we've got a 5-0 SMU Mustangs team where, you know, they go 6-0 here tonight after a win, and we're looking back to the days of Eric Dickerson, if we can remember the 80s before all the scandals hit in the mid-80s. I tell you, we got a line of 2.5 to the home team, minus 2.5 SMU over and under 56.5. You know, I'm liking the SMU Mustangs here. I mean, this is a pretty cut and dry situation here. Cincinnati did have a game canceled last week because of the coronavirus. They were supposed to travel to Tulsa to play Tulsa, but you know, the coronavirus canceled that, and the coach, Cincinnati's coach, is kind of in regret of that. You know, I really think that road atmosphere would have helped them, especially for a game like tonight here. I mean, this is under the lights, prime time, and we're talking prime time, baby. This is it. This is 9 o'clock Eastern. Number 9 versus number 16. So I want to get everybody's feedback on this game. Tony Gullich, Chipper, Louis, that bag of diamonds. What do you guys think of this game? And then I want to also go over the other game on the cross side of town, TCU, Oklahoma. But first, Louis, bag of diamonds. What do you think tonight? Cincinnati, number 9 versus 16 SMU. Do you think those rankings should be reversed from what you've seen from SMU? This is my second time at this stadium and third time this year covering SMU. What do you think?
Well, I think that you might be wrong this time, only because of one thing. We've been following these teams, and they've had that time off for COVID. They seem to come back strong and hungry. So that kind of worries me about everything you just said. Even though you have made a lot of sense there, I see a little bit. I'm a little bit worried of the fact that of that simple fact. How about you, Tony? What do you got? Or Tony G? What do you got? Anything here with SMU?
Yeah, I really like this play. He mentioned Eric Dickerson. I haven't heard that name. You're going back to the Pony Express days where the best backfield money could buy in Dallas had Craig James and Eric Dickerson in the same backfield before they got the death penalty for paying them too much money and getting caught. Dykes has this team rolling. I mean, SMU offensively is, I love this team. Other thing I like about SMU that rarely gets mentioned in college, they have a damn good field goal kicker. How many times in college football do you get burned by a shitty kicker? SMU actually has a great kicker. Mentioned Cincinnati, the Ritter guy. It's not Tex Ritter, it's not John Ritter, it's some other Ritter, and he's thrown 4 picks in their 3 games, and he just so hasn't looked comfortable in the pocket for me. Tony C noted their competition. There's nothing impressive here. And what I noted coming from last year, Cincinnati's pass defense was among the worst out there. I mean, just a pure dredge. And you look at them this year, the numbers aren't much better. The only cosmetic part of their pass defense this year is they played Army that doesn't throw the ball. So you kind of just throw that game out because you're playing a non-passing team. Now you're playing a team that goes fast-paced and throws the ball a ton. Buechele has been sharp. He's got this Sonny Dykes system down to a science. He really has this pegged. I look for SMU in a primetime spot in national primetime spot at home. They get a team whose defense is not that great. I think this is a beautiful spot to capitalize on the SMU uplift this year, and I really like it. I'm playing SMU to get the job done tonight.
All right, there's a couple of reasons why we got a little steam on SMU. Chip, do you have any opinion on this one?
I like both these clubs. I mean, I am impressed with Cincinnati. The Army game was a total struggle. They didn't have anything go their way, and they managed still to cover that game. I think the attractive side here is Cincinnati, and with SMU, I believe, is now the favorite in this game. I lean toward the Mustangs. Like you said, back in those days when they had the Pony Express and Ron Meyer running the show, it's not quite the same. But after surviving the death penalty, it looks like SMU can certainly play football. They scored a bushel of points, I know, last season. And I think with Buechele there, they have an offense that can certainly put points up again. I'm really interested in seeing this game. This is going to be one of the great games to watch. But like Tony, I think I would lean toward SMU. Though I am impressed with what I've seen for Cincinnati. Every year Cincinnati's a team that always seems to let you down in a clutch situation. It's not only in football but in basketball. You seem to take them and that's the day they let you down. So I'm just going to observe this game. I'm going to watch it, but I'm very interested in seeing what it's going to say. I think it's going to be an exciting, high-scoring game.
All right. It looks like I'm on Diamond Island here with Cincinnati and the points. But really, I'm not on it heavy or anything like that. I just kind of like this trend of teams being off that have been coming on for COVID. They've come back strong and hungry, and I'm starting to just look at that trend. So it fits into that. Simple as that. All right, let's get back over to Tony C., our man on the street. We got another game down there in Texas, and I don't know if you're fast enough to get all the way over there, but Oklahoma is at TCU down in Fort Worth area. And Oklahoma opens up a 5.5-point favorite, bet up to 7 now. and the total 63.5 down to 58.5. So Tony C out there in Texas, what do you got with Oklahoma TCU?
All right, Okie and TCU. Hey, real quick, I got to get one in for you, Chip, because we've mentioned this gentleman many, many times. Like you said, it's deja vu all over again. Going back to the Memphis game, SMU was -2.5. They got the job done. It's the same line. It's deja vu all over again. I like to reiterate myself. I'm a redundant person. Chip and Tony and Louis Bag of Diamonds. The 3 happiest days of a coach's life: his wedding day, the birth of a child, and that road victory. The road victory's not coming for Cincinnati. Okay, Okie and TCU. Oklahoma started the year.
Did you hear OJ was guilty?
Number 5.
Or innocent?
How about?
Yeah, we're gonna.
All right, so
OJ was innocent.
I don't want to browbeat our host, Chip. We're 3-1 SMU on his Cincinnati. But anyway, over to the other side of town, Texas Christian University, Oklahoma. They came in on the AP polls preseason number 5, and obviously they're 2-2 now. They've got a lot of work to be had here if they want any aspirations of the postseason. So here's what we have. Both of these teams have lost to Big 12 rivals, K-State and Iowa State, both of them. So they're both 1-2 in the conference. This game is going to keep whoever afloat in the bowl or postseason berth here. The line, as you had said, it went from 6.5 to 7. Over and under has dropped. And for that, here's why the total has dropped. Texas Christian has not thrown a touchdown pass in their last 2 games. So what's that tell you? A little bit of problems on offense with quarterback Max Duggan. However, he can run the ball. I am leaning in this game. I really like Texas Christian. You know me, I'm a points guy at home, everybody. Take that magic 7 at home. They're going to fight this game tooth and nail. Again, you got postseason on the line here. Whoever wins again stays afloat. +7, and the odds makers are telling us something, Chip and Tony. If it opens at 63.5 and it's down to 58.5, because I've seen it as low as 58, that's telling us we're looking at probably a 27-24 victory from somebody. It's gonna. I really see the under in this game. We always think of Oklahoma as an explosive scoring team here, but they are on the road and they haven't played either. They're coming off a bye week, Oklahoma. So in this one here, look for a really strong run attack from Texas Christian to eat that clock up. I like the points here. I see a lower scoring affair, a 27-21 type of a game, or even a 30-24 keeps the game under. What do you guys think? I'm going to throw it back to you guys in the studio from Dallas, Fort Worth area. Man on the street, take it away, guys, but roll with TCU and the points and the under.
All right, Tony's got TCU and the under, grabbing some points there. Chip, do you have an opinion on Oklahoma TCU?
Yeah, I do. And I'm kind of surprised and disappointed what I've seen out of Oklahoma. And I thought this line was very shallow considering the circumstance. I think they're telling you that TCU has a puncher's chance, a boxer's chance to come up with a win here. Like I said, these 2 losses for Oklahoma. Here's a team that doesn't run the ball anymore, and the passing option is their game. And TCU hasn't been able to put the ball in the end zone in the air. So it's kind of interesting. This line, I think, is very suspect. I'm not using the game, and I just kept staring at it, trying to figure out where to go. And the more I looked at it, the easier it looked to take Oklahoma, which would make me want to take TCU. But I didn't use the game. But I would be on the Horned Frogs if I had to.
All right, a little lean on them Horned Frogs. Tony Gullidge, I think you got to play here, don't you?
Actually, I did not end up betting this game. I did note after you showed me the list of games where we'll go over, the reason I didn't want to touch this game is Oklahoma is allowing 40 points a game in their 3 Big 12 contests, giving up 40 a game. I'm supposed to take a team giving up 40 a game and lay a touchdown? Ooh, probably not going to happen. I laid off this game. I agree with Chip, though. Based on what the flow is on this line, if I was playing this game, I think I would be backing the home team here. No play for me.
All right, no play there. And I'll have to agree with the dog here as well, with a little bit of lean on TCU. But neither team seems to ever really want to cover the spread, as the Horned Frogs are 8-23 against the spread at home, while the Sooners are 5-15-1 against the spread as a road favorite. When I see that, the dog has to have a little bit of lean from me. So I see a little bit of a lean on the dog as well. So a game that we did miss, I'm not sure if you guys will have an opinion on it, but Paul Bovey, he's 4-0 with us right now, as I mentioned earlier in the show. He came at you with Florida State here today. He also has another play. It is game number 6 on our schedule, Eugene, and that is Syracuse and Clemson. And Paul doesn't have a problem laying that wood. He laid the 44 points with Clemson here. Now it's up to 46. I believe this is another scenario where Clemson will be able to be a nice play for the first quarter and the first half and probably the game. It's a big number, but look what they did last week. They're going to just – I don't see them, stepping on the brakes anytime soon here. And I don't know if you guys have anything, but Tony, you have anything with the Clemson game real quick?
I'll go real quick here. No, I did not take it. That spread just smells like dog crap to me, 46. I couldn't lay that in 100 years. I see Clemson blowing them out. I could see 52-0 at halftime and maybe winning 52-10 because they just sent every starter to the – you're getting to like the 100th man on the bench gets to play in this game.
Yeah,
I can't lay
maybe.
the points. I see where Paul's going, but I just can't follow him here. I'm passing on this one.
All right. How about you, Chipper? What are you thinking here? I know you don't like laying points and getting involved in those games.
No, I'm usually not, but I can tell you that I know Syracuse is particularly weak. They lost their quarterback. Not only did the Four Seasons lose Tommy DeVito, passed on this year, but the quarterback, Tommy DeVito, is gone for Syracuse as well, and he wasn't a very good starter as it was. I don't see Syracuse even getting on the board in this game. I'm sort of like looking at the way Tony says. If they're up 45-0 at the half, who knows if the Tigers are going to call up the dogs in the second half. Dogs and Tigers, cats and dogs, I guess. But I would take Clemson. I would never take Syracuse, and 46 points is incredible.
Yeah, that is a lot of points. Here's a little unknown fact that you'll may appreciate. Tommy DeVito was my neighbor for a few years during the 90s. How about that?
Is that why you got that
yes,
voice?
I'll tell you what, when you live in Vegas and you spend a lot of years in Vegas, the world gets really small very quick. Everybody knows everybody and everybody. So crazy world out here. All right. So that being said, let's get on to let's get on to the Georgia Southern Coastal Carolina game. I know I don't have much in this, but Coastal Carolina finally cracks into the top 25 for the first time. They've been working on it. We've been talking about it for 3 years, Tony Gullidge. I know you got something on this game, so give it to us. Lay it out.
Yeah, this is probably preseason. This will probably be the best competition. One of them, Georgia Southern's always the ground attack, always considered tough in this conference. But I see a team that's not playing that well. I love the fact that they played Lafayette close. Coastal Carolina went into Lafayette as a 9-point underdog and won straight out. I like what I've seen from Coastal. This guy, we mentioned it years before when they first played their first game in FBS. It's a party school just west of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in a town called Conway. The whole community's rallied around this program, watched the football program get built from basically nothing to where they were playing in like a dilapidated field to now they've come in, brought money. They actually have pretty nice facilities there now, I believe, 20 years later. So, and this coach is a winner. Everywhere he's went, he's won. Before they made it to FBS, Coastal Carolina's coach was 51-12 at that school, leading them up. This team, it's easy to overlook a team like this, but in this spot at home with this line, I'm going to ride with them, man. They've looked strong everywhere. They're balanced offensively. They run and they pass. This quarterback knows the system. The coach is smart. He makes adjustments. So even when they're not playing great, this coach, I notice, he will make adjustments in games, and they work. Great spot. The only reason this line's under a touchdown because of the team they're playing with a little bit of notoriety behind the name. I think Coastal just lays the wood here and smacks his team around. Coastal Carolina lay the points.
So you don't think the press is going to affect them in the first-time ranking? Don't think that's going to be a little bit don't think that's going to hold them back?
They have looked forward to this. This is something they built towards, Lou. I mean, like, It's
Yeah.
something, I know a little more about this team because my parents lived in Myrtle Beach. I've been around the area a lot. I'm kind of familiar with, the way this program got built out of nothing, literally built up out of nothing. And I don't think the pressure, this coach just doesn't play that. Okay. This is a real disciplined coach. He expects discipline from his team. And if you watch their games, they play discipline. There's no loose personal fouls, not a lot of, no turnovers, not a lot of penalties. Clean team and well coached. This coach is good. Expect them to play like their coach wants them to, and they'll play hard and get the job done tonight. That's my play, Coastal Carolina.
All right. Well, you're saying the words that I like to hear when I see this scenario, because usually the pressure gets too much to these young kids. But the words I like to hear is the coach. He's been building to this. He's been setting these kids up. It's kind of the same scenario when I look at that Justin Herbert when he went out there and played against New Orleans. He was preparing for that day his whole life. So if this team was preparing for it, which I'm tending to believe you right now, in fact, I'm actually kind of sold on it, Tony. Coastal Carolina, if they've been guided to this scenario and ready for it, look out, Georgia Southern today. I will agree with that. Chip, do you have anything to add on that one?
I think the Coastal Carolina is a football team, and they know how to play the game. I'll tell you that. But this is a situation where all of a sudden they're now ranked. They're in the top 25, and something seems to happen to the psyche of these teams. Not only them, but to their opponent. Georgia Southern's been a worthy opponent for years against this club. I just happen to think that this is a spot where Coastal Carolina may come up short against the number. They may win the game. They've been great so far, absolutely fabulous. I just think that possibly this is the time where they meet their Waterloo. I would take Georgia Southern in this game. And by the way, I believe it starts at noon.
I believe it is an early game, yes. 12 noon Eastern time. So that is all right. So Chip's going to go head-to-head with you here, Tony. So now I'm talked into a teaser. So Coastal Carolina just for the outright win or a money line parlay. So that looks like a lot safer play, according to the both of you. That being said, let's just get right to the most interesting play of the day. If you have it, if you already gave it to us, let us know which one it was. If not, give us a winner here, guys. I'll start with you, Chip. Throw us a winner.
Well, it's a big Saturday, of course, and I think there's a lot of interesting games in the Big Ten which came out, which we just can't do anything with, which I couldn't do anything with without anything to judge it upon. We've got Iowa, right, Purdue, and of course Penn State and Indiana. And last night we saw Wisconsin just absolutely annoy Illinois. I mean, what do you say? Annoy Illinois? I think destroy Illinois was the word.
They annoyed the shit out of me because I had Illinois yesterday, but go ahead.
I want to go to this Virginia-Miami game, and I know you guys like Miami in it, but I think Virginia did show something last season playing in the ACC championship game, and I think they're looking to rally here. I look for the Cavaliers to come up big against Miami. I really do. I know they've fumbled the ball. They've really played poorly, and I think this is a time when they have to get their act together, at least to be representable. And I'm going to take the generous points with the Cavaliers.
All right. Looking at them Cavaliers, I'm hoping you're wrong there today, Chip. But that is the name of, that's why they call it gambling, baby.
Yes, sir.
All right. Tony G, give us your most interesting play of the day.
Speaking of the Big Ten, I'm old school guy. I write with pen. I make notes on paper. I write my chicken scratch, as you can see. What I like to do is make little notations, tear off a piece of paper, and I got a little box on my desk where I keep them for notes. I had one for a Big Ten game today. Iowa as a road favorite. I don't keep specific trends or specific numbers, but I know if I got a piece of paper that says watch out for Iowa as a road favorite, that means there's something going on. This is going back several years, 6-7 years now. Just Iowa as a road favorite wins.
17-5 their last 22 games as a road favorite.
Okay, well, there you go. And Iowa as a road favorite covers. For me, that's just it's not even one where I think about it. I just play that. So when I make myself little notes, they mean something. And I'm playing Iowa as the road favorite, not knowing anything about anybody. But for me, that's the most interesting play. A team that is literally 80% against the spread of what you gave, right? 85% against the spread. And I'm thinking that's going back damn near a decade. They've been great at this spot for a long time. Iowa as a road favorite against Purdue.
All right. Well, the Hawkeyes, they are 1-4 the last 5 games versus Purdue, but they're 4-1 the last 5 games at Purdue. So that marries into your logic there as well. So Iowa as a road favorite. And Tony G has drilled that into our brain whenever you see that. And those are good things that you want to drill into your brain, like Navy as a road dog. Now, today they're a home dog, so we'll be leaving them alone. And boy, oh boy, you got to plug your nose when you play them this year, but you still got to play it. That's the problem. You can't step away from it. So, all right, that being said, let's just talk about my most interesting play of the day, and that will certainly be against Chipper, and that will be with Miami, Florida. But I'm going to say, if you really want to take advantage of it, Miami, Florida, the first quarter, Virginia been outscored 48-3 in the first quarter. I think that will continue here today. Cash that ticket in the first quarter. Whether Miami gets the big cover afterwards will remain to be seen. I believe it. Chip don't. But I definitely believe you got a first quarter play here with the Miami Hurricanes. And please subscribe to us below so when we get here tomorrow at 7 a.m., you'll be ready to get all our NFL action. Lots of free plays for you, parlays and teasers. You know me, teaser on Sunday. So I want, on behalf of Tony G and Chip Chirimbus and Tony Cusimano out there in Texas, thank you very much. Appreciate all the information you provided for us. We will see you here tomorrow on this same bat channel and YouTube. Louis Diamond, bettercenter.com on Facebook. This is Louis Diamond. Thank you, Eugene from Spotlight Film Productions. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. on Better Center Live.